Good evening. In his effort to reopen the country, President Nana Addo Akufo Addo held a special meeting with Vice Chancellors of both public and private universities in Ghana. The purpose of the meeting was to discuss the best way forward for the safe reopening of Ghana's universities amid the COVID-19 crisis. Let's cross over now to listen to the President's full address in detail.
This pandemic has come. It has dislocated the lives of the entire globe. There is no single country on the face of the planet that has not been affected. All of us across the globe, we have to find a way to address that future and meet it, but obviously with safety. How do we protect our economy? How do we get our economy revitalized? But how do we do it with safety? How do we get our society back on track, but again with safety? Very new phenomena have come into our lives. We are each other's enemies. Human civilization so far has been conducted on the principle that there is solidarity between us. We hug each other, we touch each other, we hold hands, we find ways of expressing joy, grief, happiness. But today, the touch of human beings are themselves potentially a weapon of death. There are new phenomena that are evolving as a result of this pandemic, and is going to change the nature of human civilization. It will be impossible for those who have gone forth to have conceived that there would be a Ghana where people would not shake hands. It's a fundamental feature of our cultural response, and that we have all got used to it. That you don't shake hands. You don't shake hands with your seniors, with your loved ones, with your children, with chiefs. We don't shake hands. We don't come near each other, because each one of us is potentially a vehicle of death. These are important modifications to human life, to the structure of social organization. But the human race is not dead. We have to find a way with these new phenomena to charter a path for our survival and our progress and our development. And for that to happen, education and the educational institutions have to be highly prioritized in the way in which they function. So yes, we have to go forward. Can't wring our hands and say because of the pandemic we're giving up the fight for the progress and the development of our nation. But because of the pandemic and we're no longer interested in issues of social justice. No. We have to continue to make every effort to make sure that our society, despite the pandemic, is able to function and it's able to deliver the results which are of human progress and solidarity. The basis for the decision we made, that the time had come when we see the history, the limited history of the virus that we have seen here in the last 2 to 3 months, that yes, it will be possible, despite the increase in the numbers, because as the numbers grow up, also the recoveries are also going up. Very soon we'll get more than 50% of those who are affected by the disease on the list of recoveries. So in that light, how then can we engineer our future with safety? We know here in Ghana we have examples, very painful examples, of what happened to generations of Ghanaians whose educations were interrupted, sometimes by purely political events, not by pandemics, but by political events. And it's taken a long time for for those who are the victims of this political intervention in the lives of our educational system to recover, and for our system to recover. If there's any way we can prevent this generation also suffering in their evolution from the pandemic, we should do so. And that is the basis for this decision we have taken, that as from Monday, we'll have a limited reopening of universities so that those who have to take their exams are given the opportunity to prepare to do so and go ahead and do so in the space that has been provided. Despite the difficulties that all of us are going through, it is possible for us to begin the re-engineering of our country in the context of this COVID-19 menace. And I think it is just as well that it is you at the level of the tertiary system who will give an example to the country. You are at the apogee of the educational ladder, and it only makes sense that you should be the ones to give a good example to the country. And if it succeeds and it works, then the country too will be reassured that we can begin to step out with some confidence to the future that beckons to all of us.
We, the Vice Chancellors of Ghana, are very grateful for this opportunity to interact with you and your team at this very high office of the presidency. We are also grateful for the great leadership you provide in this country, most especially at this time of COVID-19 and all the interventions that you've put in place to ensure that lives are safe in this country. Just like the Honorable Minister said, these are strategies that, if not comparable to what pertains in the rest of the world, they are far well advanced than what most of us know, even in the advanced countries of the world. And we thank you very much for that. You gave an order, there was a presidential order, that universities should open on the 15th of June. I think somewhere last week, some of the media carried news, and I'm sure probably some might have gotten to you, that some universities have defied the president's orders and are unwilling to reopen. Mr. President, let me assure you that that is not the case at all. All universities are obliging to reopen, and none of us is defying your orders. So come the 15th, that's Monday, all universities will reopen as you have directed. We believe that the orders was given within a certain context, and that tells us that we need also to apply wisdom and some level of discretion in getting the students to campus to complete. So, in consultation with our student bodies, of course, there was some scary moments from the students and some from the staff. So the agreement was to have what we call a blended approach after school reopens on the 15th. And what it means is that most of us will continue with the online. So students who want to come, there's flexibility. We've provided that avenue of flexibility. Students who want to come to campus are free to come to campus. Those who, for one reason or the other, feel that they are safe where they are and they have access to internet facilities would give us undertakings that they would want to stay at home whilst we continue with our online things. So the universities are going to reopen, Your Excellency. We recognize the fact that Some students will have to do some kind of face-to-face, especially when it comes to those who are writing theses and will need to interact with the supervisors. We've made provisions for all of them when they come to campus. And as the Honorable Minister said, we're taking all the measures, putting everything in place to ensure the safety of our students. We want to thank you for your great leadership for this nation. We want to thank you for the great thinking that you have for this country. We want to thank you for a great sense of direction and your human touch to things happening in this university, especially the COVID-19. We call on the Lord's blessings for you and your team. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May you live long to lead this country. And may you forever be a huge asset to Mother Ghana. Long live Ghana. And in your own words, let me borrow. Do not be disturbed, for this too shall pass.
The move to reopen Ghana's universities is primarily to ensure the country is still able to provide and facilitate the education, training, and expertise to produce professionals and scholars to fill the vacancies of the Ghanaian economy and drive growth to speed up the economic recovery of Ghana against the recession caused by the COVID-19 coronavirus crisis. We are standing by and will bring you more as and when we get it. This is your news update from EAJ Media.